A man without mastery of his emotions is a liability. A man without mastery of his emotions is a liability. A man with complete mastery of his emotions is unfuckwithable. I'm going to say that again. A man with complete mastery of his emotions is unfuckwithable. Listen, if anybody saw the NFL kickoff game between Dallas and the Eagles, you saw that 6 seconds into the game, there was an ejection. Jalen Carter was ejected for spitting on Dak Prescott. And that was it. Everybody saw it, and everybody was like, man, that was crazy. Dude, why you do that early on? Boom, right? Ejected immediately. You wake up the next morning, slow motion video actually catches Dak Prescott spitting in the direction of Jalen earlier, right? And this spit back was actually in response. Fascinating, right? So Dak Prescott, QB for, the Cowboys, actually spit in the direction of Jalen initially. But if you look at it, we didn't see that part to begin with. Jalen took the bait. Jalen took the bait. He allowed his emotions to get the best of him. When you do not have mastery of your emotions, you become a liability. You can think about your own life. Every stupid decision that you've ever made, in almost all instances, revolves around you being emotionally unstable. It revolves around you taking the bait. And if somebody knows they can get under your skin, they are going to bait you to take action, because then you, like what happened the other night or last night, you get ejected. Again, you're now a liability. You're a dude they built the whole freaking defensive line around, and now you're unavailable because you took the bait, because you allowed yourself to get emotionally out of sorts because of what was done. You have to respond due to whatever you were feeling inside of you to prove that can't nobody do that to you. And you see what happens. Again, a man without mastery of his emotions is a liability. A man with complete mastery of his emotions is unfuckwithable. So listen, if homeboy was a player or an individual who didn't take the bait, or if he was one that doesn't get out of sorts when being baited into that, I don't think that tactic would have been used. But you remember, professional sports, that's a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? There are billions of dollars exchanging on all the different betting platforms. There are millions of dollars being transacted in ticket sales and selling of merch and all of this stuff. There's a lot going on there, right? There's a lot at stake for winning. So therefore, if your job is to win, some adopt the mentality of win by any means necessary. That means if I have to figure out a way to bait you into doing something, which then gets you out of the way so that we have a better chance of winning, please believe that is going to be part of the strategy. My son plays youth baseball, and in the dugout, when the pitcher for the opposing team is pitching, the dugout gets loud and they start chirping, right? And we were talking about it yesterday at dinner. You start chirping to get into the head of the pitcher. Now, if that pitcher has mastered his emotions and that pitcher does not get rattled by chirping, then honestly, you can tone it down because you're not making any impact. But every so often, you get a pitcher who you're chirping and you're talking gets in their head, and therefore you now have an advantage because that individual who has not managed his emotions, who has not controlled his emotions, is a liability. But that one who you can't get to, he's unfuckwithable 100%. And that's where we learn. That's where we see strategy being implemented. And that's why when it comes down to competition, this is an inside game. You have to become a master of your emotions. That does not mean that you don't have emotions. That doesn't mean that you don't react at some times. But the reality is, emotions are great passengers, but they are horrible drivers. They should ride shotgun. You should never let them drive the car, because when you let them drive the car, you get caught up, you take the bait, and you get ejected from a game 6 seconds in. And thankfully, the Eagles still won, right? But had the Eagles lost, everything would have come down to that decision that he made in a state of emotional unregulation, right? Or emotional dysregulation. I'm going to actually play the clip that they that they posted about this thing here, so you can actually see it. So let's put this in here real quick.
Over there, and that begins the interaction of the two. Prescott's spit was down. Prescott in the...
Let's try this again. Hold on. I'm gonna put this back out here so y'all can see the whole thing. All right, so check this out. And if mine doesn't work well, then y'all can find the clip, but I'm gonna try to show it here. Here we go.
Out between his offensive linemen, and Dak spits down towards the ground, but in the direction of the Eagles, with Carter, who had walked over there, and that begins the interaction of the two. Prescott's spit was down. Prescott in the...
So y'all get the picture. We'll just put back up the the image so y'all can just see the image. Y'all can go find the clip, but it's crazy. He actually spit first, and then Jalen Murray took the bait. Dude, again, we must be masters of our emotions. Emotions are there for a reason. They're indicators. They let us know what's going on, but the reality is we can't let them control the complete narrative. Yeah. This was really, really interesting. So I know all over social media and all the different sports channels, this is going to be something that people are talking about today. But yeah, y'all dive into it and see what happened with Spitgate. I guess that's probably what they'll call it now. But the thing that I want you to learn, and this is all about this channel here, about becoming the quarterback of your mindset. Part of that is really understanding how to regulate your emotions, understanding that at times we have to break the pattern of how we used to respond if we want to start responding in a different way as we move forward. We have to think about, how do I take a second to breathe, to process before reacting? Sometimes that split second, that little bit of time that we take to pause, is enough to allow us to think clearly about how we should respond in a particular situation. But if we just go to our natural tendency and react how we've always reacted, it might not turn out in our favor. So listen, control your emotions. Again, a man without mastery of his emotions is a liability. A man with complete mastery of his emotions is unfuckwithable. Listen, y'all gonna be the quarterback of your mindset, but also work through practices and processes of regulating your emotions. It's a necessity. It's a necessity, especially if you want to operate at the highest level. Y'all be blessed, well, and wise. Make sure to share this thing out. And until next time, I'll holler at you. Peace.